Now, Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GPHA, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, a BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT. And you'll be able to read all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at Iron Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you as usual. And so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538-037353. 0538-037353. When the time is ripe, and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the show. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefi. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena, a cutting-edge WhatsApp bot revolutionizing how motor insurance and other insurance products are purchased, managed and utilized. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Oh yes, 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serene Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. Serena is fast and always available no matter the time of day. It is a 24-hour self-service. Get insured in less than 10 minutes on WhatsApp from the comfort of wherever you may be. Convenient without compromise. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool. It's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Well, welcome back. We are now going to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, in collaboration with key maritime stakeholders, has undertaken a comprehensive simulation exercise dubbed Operation Obangame, aimed at testing the port's readiness and response capabilities in the event of an oil spill. The exercise brought together GPHA's Marine Unit, Fire and Safety Department, and Security Department, working in close coordination with the Marine Police and the Ghana Maritime Authority. The simulation was designed to evaluate interagency coordination, response time, and operational effectiveness in managing marine environmental incidents. Central to the operation was the deployment of GPHA's state-of-the-art multi-purpose tugboat, specially equipped to contain and manage oil spillages at sea. The tugboat demonstrated its capacity to swiftly respond to environmental emergencies, reinforcing GPHA's commitment to maintaining high safety and environmental protection standards at Ghana's ports. Speaking after the exercise, some officials emphasized the importance of preparedness in safeguarding Ghana's marine environment in line with international safety and environmental protocols.
This our boat god in the name is a very high-class multi-purpose vessel equipped with all the booms, the skimmers. Divers on board also have their full set of diving and everything. Our equipment, as you all saw, worked perfect. The skimmers, the power packs that drive both the skimmer and then the boom.
We were given a location. We were able to, plot the location. And then we tried to proceed to that place, though it was quite far, but since a drill, so we need to just simulate that. We got to a very good location, but in all, I would say satisfactory, though we are trying to put in our best, our efforts. There's still always room for improvement.
In security, drills are very, very important for us to practice what we'll do when the actual happens. The role that security played in the exercise was to deploy one of our 2 dedicated patrol boats to make sure that the oil control boom area where the spilled oil was controlled is not interfered with by any craft, boat, or anything, knowingly or unknowingly.
The harbour master at the port of Tema, Captain Bramwell Terrier, said Operation Obangame forms part of a broader series of maritime security and environmental protection initiatives being undertaken to strengthen Ghana's resilience against both accidental and intentional marine threats.
We had an exercise called Obangame. It's a multinational exercise organized by the military along the west and east coast of Africa to test our readiness or preparedness against any eventuality, i.e. piracy, oil spillage, armed robbery, and other illegal activities along our coasts. GPHA, we've been participating. This year, we were given a role, oil spill role, tier 1, to play.
The successful execution of the drill underscored the importance of joint stakeholder collaboration in enhancing Ghana's port security and environmental response mechanism.
Management of the Tema Fishing Harbour have expressed delight following the successful berthing of the longest vessel ever to dock at the facility. The vessel, Savannah Wind, which measures 128 meters in length with a draft of 6.5 meters, arrived at the harbour on Saturday, March 10, carrying 1,399 tons of frozen fish cartons. Her last port of call before Tema was in Mauritania. The general manager of the Tema Fishing Harbour, Engineer Stephen Ampiel, described the successful handling of the vessel as a strong signal to the global fishing industry that the harbour is ready for large-scale operations of this nature.
The records indicate that this is the longest vessel that we have handled, and it's only an indication that our facilities here are ready to receive and work on. You can see operations moving on smoothly without hitches. Our men are on the ground supervising everything, and we are ready to do business with everybody.
Captain Alfred Damali, the dock master at the fishing harbour, shared details of the technical precision involved in this operation.
We had a vessel called Savannah Wind coming in. So we asked of the draft. Most usually when they book, we take particular attention on the length and then the draft. So we found out that fine, we can take in this vessel, which is 128 meters, 0.4, I think 128.4 meters, and the draft is around 6.8.
The development is seen as a boost to Ghana's fishing logistics sector and underscores the harbour's strategic role in regional fish trade.
To improve operational efficiency and safety at the port and for external stakeholders, the Learning and Development Division of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority (GPHA), in partnership with the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport (CILT), has certified 28 individuals after an intensive 1-month forklift training program. This maiden graduation ceremony, held at GPHA Towers in Tema, brought together some managers within the authority, representatives of CILT Ghana, course facilitators, and the graduates. In her welcome address, the Learning and Development Manager at GPHA, Chirwa said the training not only enhances workplace safety but also contributes significantly to the organization's revenue stream. She further revealed that under the transformation agenda of the Learning and Development section, 5 training cohorts are scheduled for 2025, and the success of the first forklift training is a strong testament to GPHA's ongoing commitment to meeting the evolving needs of the maritime and logistics industry.
Through the transformation agenda at the L&D section, 5 cohorts are planned for the year 2025, catering diverse range of trainees. As part of our external training unit's business development activities, we have engaged with the Tema Oil Company to provide forklift training at their premises. We are also exploring more opportunities with other organizations.
Speaking on behalf of the General Manager of Administration, Kwabna Edusafo, the HR Manager at the Port of Tema, Joseph Upen, commended the program's facilitators for delivering a rigorous month of training. He expressed confidence that GPHA is nurturing a pool of skilled individuals who may become valuable future employees.
This is very beneficial for you for now and for the future. For GPHA, it is a tremendous step in the right direction. It's not only an income generating initiative, but we see it as developing a workforce pool that we will leverage ourselves in the future.
Representing the President of CILT Ghana, Vice President in charge of Finance, Laksin Liga, lauded the graduates for their discipline, commitment, and readiness to contribute to one of the most critical sectors of Ghana's economy. He reminded them that their new certification represents not just technical skill, but the responsibility of upholding safety and productivity across the logistics chain.
Today marks more than just the completion of forklift operator training. It signifies the beginning of a journey towards excellence, responsibility, and professional growth in the logistics and transport industry. You have demonstrated commitment, discipline, and a desire to become valuable contributors to one of the most essential sectors of our economy.
So on behalf of all the trainees, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who supported us during this machine operation training. To our trainers, we truly appreciate your time, patience, and the knowledge you share with us. To the learning and development section, thank you for giving us this opportunity to learn and grow. Okay. To our families and friends, we appreciate your support. It means everything to us. To my fellow colleagues, congratulations to you all, and this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Ghana's industrial fishing sector took a major step toward improving the welfare of its workforce with the official signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Ghana Industrial Trawlers Association and the National Union of Seamen, Port and Allied Workers. The MOU sets a standardized framework for the wages and emoluments of fishers working on trawl vessels and represents a significant milestone in Ghana's implementation of the International Labour Organization's C-188 Work and Fishing Convention, ratified by the country in recent years. At a brief but symbolic signing ceremony attended by stakeholders from government, labor unions, industry and development partners, the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali, described the agreement as a transformative step toward fairness, dignity and justice for Ghana's fishers.
The signing of this MOU is therefore a major achievement and a clear step towards improving the working and living conditions of fishers on trawlers operating in Ghana, and this is by no means a small achievement when you compare it even on a global scale.
General Secretary of NUSPAW, Michael Angmo, highlighted some of the key gains already chalked in the lead up to the MOU.
The first one is about recruitment. And if you look at how recruitments were done in those days, sometimes they call it Frevrekobo. So I have my pack bag behind me and I'm in search of job, but I don't know who is the employer and I don't know where to go. So a friend will just say, you are signed on. You don't even know whom your employer is. You don't know how much you are going to earn. You don't know when there is any injury, who you tend to. But as we speak today, with a partnership between GITA and NUSPAW, no fisher is allowed to onboard any fishing vessel without a signed and endorsed contract.
President of GITA, Stephen Ajokache, in a speech read on his behalf by Kate Ansa, echoed the sentiment of partnership and progress.
The milestone that we have chalked is very successful. Even before this signing, we have done the implementation. So we have started implementing whatever we are doing this morning.
A consultant at the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Fred Nchibuedu, representing the minister, admonished stakeholders to ensure the MOU is well implemented.
And again, we must also communicate to our employees that once they have all these enhancements, it also goes with some responsibilities, and that we cannot just take it and then do anything anyhow. And that we are also encouraging them that they will also put in their best.
As part of activities marking the International Day for Women in Maritime, celebrated on the 18th day of May each year, the Ghana chapter of the Women's International Shipping and Trading Association paid a courtesy call on the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali, to reaffirm its commitment to continued collaboration. President of WISTA Ghana, Gertrude Ohene-Sienim, acknowledged the long-standing partnership between the two institutions and expressed appreciation for GMA support over the years. She called for even greater backing in efforts to increase women's participation in Ghana's maritime sector, particularly in seafaring and other technical roles where female representation remains low.
We've had success stories of about 4 captains in the past, and over 30 years we've had none again. And so there's been a big gap between what our predecessors have done and what is happening currently. Why are women not taking these challenging positions? Those people had deliberate encouragement to climb that path, and so we can boast of Captain Hannah, Captain Hazel, Wamao, and then Captain Jopa. We want to see how we can collaborate, especially on the International Day for Women, the Seafarer, to promote these agenda. At least we have 15 years. If we can deliberately promote 15 women to go through the Maritime University probably, and then get them on board vessels and deliberately follow up their progress to climb this ladder of opportunities in the maritime industry and to take up challenging role. That will be our joy.
Gertrude Ohene-Sienim also announced WISTA Ghana's intention to bid for Ghana to host the annual general meeting of the International Association in 2027. She appealed for GMA's full support to make the bid a success.
Every year brings about over 400 women together on the platform to deliberate about women issues. We see a huge economic impact in that sense. Imagine us hosting the 2027 and bringing all these women from all these countries to Ghana. That would be a huge opportunity for us.
Responding to the delegation, the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali, underscored the authority's commitment to empowering women, describing it as a key component of GMA's management strategy, which is evident in the growing number of women in leadership positions at the authority.
It is clear that inclusivity in our management level will never be determined by gender. It will be determined by who has got what to offer. And that is clear in the GMA setup as we see here. Most of the people that we sit here are senior management, more or less, either directors, deputy directors, or heading different units or principal level and making important decisions. So we are not wanting at all, but we wish to even strengthen that. And as you said, to broaden it beyond GMA.
He expressed hope that Ghana will soon regain its reputation as a country where women rise to become captains of seagoing vessels. The GMA boss emphasized that the authority is transitioning beyond its regulatory role to proactively promote Ghana's maritime industry, including through strategic partnerships that elevate women in the sector.
We have done a lot on our regulatory side, which we have to still build on, but we have to promote the industry. And GMA has to really play that role in whatever we do on the incoming or the upcoming Seafarers Day, and going forward to also the World Maritime Day in September. So we certainly see WISTA as an important partner in that regard.
Right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week. We are now going to take a look at the word or phrase of the day. And remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. And tonight we're taking a look at full container load. Full container load.
Full container load. This refers to a container that is filled by one shipper, normally to a sole receiver.
So we are zooming into a discussion proper tonight, and tonight we're taking a look at how to ensure some level of efficiency in our shipping space in this country, and we're taking some perspectives from the private sector. And we know our shipping industry has evolved over the years. Alas, we still have some challenges bedeviling the industry, and so we'd like to take some perspectives from some experts tonight on what we can be doing as a country to ensure that we inject some level of efficiency in our shipping industry. I'm proud to announce to us this evening, or to introduce to us, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Shipping. Indeed, he's a past Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority. He is a private legal practitioner at Alliance Partners here in Accra, Ghana, and also a maritime consultant. Good evening, Sir Doc, and welcome. Doc is no stranger to the show.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also with us in the studios, Dr. Adam Imoro Ayana. He is also an executive member of the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana. We say congratulations to you, sir, on acquiring your PhD from the Maryland State University in Business and Management. Congratulations, sir, and welcome to Iron Port. Awesome. Right. So let me start with Dr. Ayana and ask you to vividly give us your views and assessment of what our shipping industry as a country looks like at the moment.
Thank you, and good evening to your listeners. Sometimes when we sit around and they start saying experts, I mean, I have a challenge with it. Nobody is an expert. We all learn as we go along.
Okay.
To talk of Ghana's industry, I mean, what has happened over the period, I would say, from a Ghanaian perspective, nothing much has changed, because you have to look at it from both sides. What I know that is changing, it's predominantly the shipping companies or the shipping lines heavily investing in their trade, which brings to fore the global regulations. Because of all these global regulations, all these companies have to invest heavily. I mean, you would attest to me that recently, not recently, it's been there, but regulations such as the ballistic water treatment system, retrofitting of scrubbers, and very low sulfur fuel regulations. All these involve heavy investment. So shipping as they come in, it's not just like a car moving and you put fuel in it and it just moves.
Right.
And all this is also towards improvement of our environment. On the face of Ghana, I think technology is what I see driving from the shipping side of things, driving it, because I know for a fact that most of the shipping lines, at least, we have the 7 big global players sitting in Ghana. They have heavily invested in technology, and not just for Ghana, but for their global business. And we think this would aid the shipping industry. Now, what we need on the other side is a mindset change.
Right.
And I think Ghana is on the way to go. Fortunately, there's been some kind of investment also in our ports, and there is more to be done.
Right.
That's what I'll say for now on the shipping front.
Right. Dr. Ambia? Yes, let's have your take on your assessment from the private sector perspective of what our shipping industry as a country looks like at the moment.
I agree with Ayana. I mean, we've come quite some distance. There is no doubt at all about it.
Right.
But at the same time, we are still bedeviled with the things that over the years we have spoken about.
Absolutely.
They remain, and that is a matter of concern.
Right.
You know, for every port, at the end of the day, you are interested in ensuring that, yes, there is efficiency, and the efficiency goes with cost reduction.
I've been told you have this is your camera, so you can face your camera. Absolutely, yes, sir. Great.
Cost reduction.
Yes.
So it's important that bear in mind a few things that makes a port. What I call them the signs and symptoms.
Okay.
If you went to the port of Tema today, what do you see?
Okay.
And the things which you see are informative of the efficiency of the port and the issues we talk about in respect of cost reduction.
Right.
You go to Tema Port today. As you enter the port precinct, the area, trucks are littered all around. I lie.
Yes.
If I lie, tell me.
That's true.
Trucks are littered all around.
Yeah.
It is not the mark of an efficient port.
Right.
You know, as you get into the port, you realize that we need to have integrated infrastructure.
Yes.
Largely, when you come to the operation side of things, in terms of efficiency, we are up there.
So can you draw close?
We are up there. There is no doubt at all that we are up there in terms of the operations. But when you look at the logistics performance index, that is the totality of the logistics chain, then you would come to realize that indeed, while we are efficient at the side of the berth, etc., when you come on land, where we need to be efficient as well, we are not as efficient.
Right.
Right from the terminal operations, therefore leading to increased dwell time of containers.
Right.
You look at the outlets as far as the port is concerned. The road, the main one, is very bad now.
Right.
We have the hospital road, and then we have the one that comes to Nungwa.
Yes.
All of them, they are not designed to complement the efforts of the port in terms of the movement of cargo out of the port. So it is important to bear in mind that, yes, it's true, we have done well in terms of operational efficiencies, bedside, bed occupancy, the crane and what the crane can do over the period, etc. We've done well with respect to those.
Right.
When it comes to the totality, we still have a lot of challenges.
Right.
We still have challenges with costs. We still have challenges with people. Yes, maybe today I talk more for the private sector.
Yeah.
But the issue still remains that people come to the port only to come and find out how much duty they have to pay and go and look for money to come and pay. While their containers remain in the port, it doesn't make for efficiency.
Right.
As far as, if we talk about efficiencies, we'll talk about maybe skill, training, etc.
Yes.
I think largely, and I saw a few things
Yeah.
up here which show quite clearly that when it comes to efficiency in terms of skills training, etc., the human capacity development, we are there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done a lot in that regard. But when it comes to the regulatory framework, we still have challenges.
Right.
So I talk about the integrated infrastructure, and I talk also about the regulatory framework.
Okay.
Because regulation and administration is important in a port such as this.
Right.
I believe that our port community is not working. There is the need for us to have a port community that meets periodically.
Right.
That sets targets, goals to be achieved. They look at the general performance indicators of the port.
Yes.
Not only from one end, but from the front end and the back end. They look at both, and then evaluate, they monitor, they look at it over time and come back and say, are we indeed making progress? I mean, look, today we have MPS, very efficient, and yet it takes about a week and sometimes more to transfer containers from MPS to GJT, Golden Jubilee Terminal. It's not a mark of efficiency.
Right.
For how many years now we've been talking about paperless?
Yeah.
It is still less paper and not paperless.
Right.
You still see freight forwarders with papers in their hands, running around offices. It's all not a mark of the efficient port you would want to have.
Right.
And even beyond these today, we are looking more at green ports. To what extent are we preparing ourselves towards going green in the port?
Yeah.
Many ports are transitioning to cold ironing. Ports are looking at themselves, not only the fuel that is used by the vessel, but the equipment that you use in the port themselves. To what extent, can we get cleaner fuels for these?
Right.
The transition is taking place, and it's taking place fast. Many countries today are looking at methanol, they are looking at hydrogen, they are looking at ammonia.
Yes.
So when we want to look into the future, we need to be thinking about the green port. And consequently, what are we putting in place in order that we would attain these objectives? So by and large, I would say that, yes, for some of us who have been there for quite long, we can see a growth, we can see a transition.
Right.
You get me? However, as I said, we are still bedeviled with a number of things that does not make our port very efficient.
Right.
There is no doubt about that. The totality of it all is that it leads to increased cost and a lack of competitiveness.
Right.
And that is what we are encountering. So the private sector cannot normally bring costs down when you have these aberrations happen and consequently add on to costs.
Right.
So You want to clear a container from the port, one would have thought that, look, plus and minus, a day, 2 days, able to clear.
Right.
Admittedly, some are clearing within that period, but at the same time, there are a number two that are going beyond that, and I think you were talking about cargoes which are going on UCL, etc., and the rest. It all tells you that we still have some ground to cover.
Right.
We still have some grounds to cover.
Right. All right. So with respect to the port of Tema, I think there's a new dawn of leadership and under Mr. Tibunzuma. And just about 2 weeks ago, some 15 trucks were commissioned to help ease movement of cargo in the port, within the port from MPS to the other terminals and all that. 15 were commissioned and 15 more are expected in early June.
That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, so that'll be 30. And then in all for the whole of this year, we're expecting about 18 cranes, to come in, according to
good news.
That's good news. So I'm sure that would help inject some level of efficiency as far as operations within the port is concerned. Yes, Dr. Ayana, yes.
Yeah, like just calling you Adam. It's good. Like Kofi stated, I heard more of, the other side, the land side of things. And Kofi, as Kofi rightly stated, the port's operations is quite efficient compared to our neighbors. What it is, the challenge is what Kofi have spoken about. That is the cost.
Right.
But you see, coming together is one thing. But actors also playing their individual roles is key.
Right.
Because if we come together, we've been sitting around the table for donkey years, and what has happened? That is why I ended by saying that a mindset change is very important.
Absolutely.
Kofi spoke of regulations, but what we have to do is, what is the objective of the regulations? A regulation should have an objective. Come to think of it, I mean, in this country, and sorry to say, but Kofi, I keep hearing freight forwarders would never be holding papers running around. It's clearing agents who will be holding papers running around. This is all part of the education we have to.
I don't want to go into this.
This is all part of the education.
People say they are freight forwarders.
Yeah. No, but these are some of the challenges we have. To position the issues well, because there's a difference between the two parties.
Absolutely.
And it's important. You have an institution like Ghana Shippers Authority. And what is their role? Is to educate the importers and exporters.
Right.
The question is, how is that going over the period? How has that gone? I know Kofi put in a lot of efforts during his time.
I know currently they still are going around the country educating and sensitizing people.
Yeah, but how long? If we've been doing that, look at the recent situation where we had ECG boxes sitting in the port and cocoa board, and there's even more that they haven't even unearthed. And these are all government institutions.
Right.
So even if we can't deal amongst ourselves, state actors, how can you go to the private sector to really, get them to come to the party? So that is one aspect. Now you have Ghana Customs exercise. They have trained clearing agents, right, to understand their processes.
They issue the proficiency certificates to them.
Are they well trained, or do they also understand their training? The port efficiency and operational efficiency is one thing. Like you said, things are improving. But if these actors don't also play their role well or understand their real roles, then we will forever be mounting on cost, and everybody will be shouting. And sometimes, every time the cost drivers are changed, rate of exchange, taxes, shipping lines, blah blah. I mean, it never ends. What is the bottleneck? I know recently the port is struggling, where they have several boxes sitting in the port, right? Where people are not clearing. You have thousands of boxes.
Absolutely, yes, that's true.
Come on, I'm a shipping line, right? All I did was to help you bring your cargo in a safe manner.
Yes.
Right? And I need these boxes to do the same for others.
Right.
And you keep my boxes for 2 years, 4 years. Who is supposed to bear those costs? Unfortunately, when these boxes go on what they call UCL, the shipping lines' hands are tied.
As we speak, as of last week, I know we had about 2,000 boxes on the UCL.
Look at that. What is that going to happen? Most of these boxes, some of them, even the suppliers themselves have not been paid. Right? Then come to the shipping line. Some of them, freight has not been paid. And finally, what would we see? We will see some of them also especially the perishable items of it going bad, and then these would have to be destroyed.
Right.
Who pays for that destruction? Is the shipping line. So what are the cost drivers? You know, we have to look at these things in a very principled and practical manner, not just the shouting.
Right.
And Kofi hit the nail right on the head. It's time we have a mindset change. Populism is not going to help anyone.
Right.
People should understand the dynamics. Like Kofi said, if you look at the other side of shipping, up to the berthing side and even the terminal, like he rightly stated, MPS has invested
Absolutely,
heavily.
yeah.
And I'm sure GPHA is also investing.
Yeah.
And the shipping lines have also invested.
Right.
People are not looking at all those investments that goes into it,
Sure.
right? All they see is at the end of the day, these people are charging so much and they are charging. And what are you doing to help that bit? So we have to look at that as an industry.
Doctor mentioned regulatory framework, and his view is that we probably are not very, very okay yet when it comes to that bit. What's your view as far as regulatory agencies are concerned?
I think with this, myself and Dr. go a long way on regulation. But the issue is, what is the objective? What are we regulating? What is gone wrong that we have to regulate? When it comes to the shipping aspect of issues, right? It's globally, if you look at shipping, it's globally regulated.
Yes.
You know, and they have to play by the rules. If you come to Ghana, I mean, on the land side, you have GPHA who also have their regulations.
Yes.
And most of the shipping lines abide by it. Are other actors abiding by it? Right? If you come to GMA, I mean, they have a fantastic law, and about 90% plus of their laws is picked from the global front, you know, which is adhered to by lines.
Yes.
So what other regulations do we need? You know, what we need is to rather get people on the other side of the equation to sit up and actually activate their responsibilities, not stretch their arms.
Right.
Because I asked myself, what do we want to regulate? Movement of containers in the port, or the people who come to the port, or what? You know, I've been an advocate that if we want to move forward, like Kofi said, it's just reduction of papers. It's not paperless, right? When you go to a place like Durban, right, you don't even see anybody working in the port, any clearing agents working in the port. Why don't we create places like examination base, huge examination base, where you have cameras all around? So what do the clearing agents do? What they actually do is the paperwork. So why should they also get into the physical space of things? Right? We could then, what I know in Durban is certain companies have also been bonded, right? So they and customs conduct these examinations, and it also limits leakage of taxes.
Right.
So after they conduct it, there are cameras over there and everything, so everybody knows what is happening. And there are any excesses or what have you, this information is then electronically passed on to the clearing agent sitting wherever to pay. And then it's only the truck drivers who go in and pick the boxes and we are out. So you decongest people out of the port. These are things we have to be thinking about. And these are things that is going to reduce cost of doing business through. I mean, some of the things. So I don't know what we want to regulate. But, you know, in business, who are the players? We have a lot of private players in the business. And there should be an objective for regulating.
Yes.
And if you over-regulate, what you do then is you would lose business because people will go to where they are comfortable, you know, to ply their trade.
Yes.
Fortunately, we have neighbors. You know, we have neighbors who are sinking to the global dynamics of, you know, our trade. So we should be very, very careful when we are talking about regulation. Very careful.
In your earlier submission, before you got onto this one, you made mention of the destruction of goods by the shipping lines, which that means the cost is borne by the shipping lines and all that. And I know you have been one person that has advocated over the years for perishables like meat, fish, and others not to be destroyed, but to be given to the school feeding program, so that we can feed the schools. And why is that?
Why it is maybe just to make sure we get to the bottom of it. The first thing is we have to look at our auction system, Because when cargo is auctioned today, I mean, the way it's even auctioned, there seems to be no transparency in it.
Right.
The port loses. The shipping line loses. Sometimes the suppliers loses.
Right.
Right? So everybody loses, apart from maybe whoever auctions the cargo. And even at the cargo auction at the right prices or at the right levels that the state would also gain, that is not the case. Then we go to the other side. Know that now you have timelines for auctioning. Are they being followed? So when does it lead to perishables going bad? Which means they go beyond a certain time frame.
Yes.
And when they go beyond a certain time frame, then what happens? There should be distraction.
Yes.
Who then destroys it? When the cargo is being auctioned, the shipping line have no peswa, or ports have no dime in it, or a peswa in it. But then the shipping lines are called upon to pay for the cargo destruction. And I promise you, just destroying one box,
yes,
it's above 40,000 cedis. So can you imagine the numerous boxes that are damaged? I mean, are destroyed.
Yes.
So why should we even wait for the perishables to get to that part? And this, we are talking of frozen fish, frozen meat, etc. If there's a time frame, let's cut it off. And instead of us going to destroy them, then the government then can then plug this into the school feeding program. Fortunately, hopefully, maybe we can look at it and every party can get a little bit of the cake. And then everybody will have visibility in the auction system, and we can all help to get this going. We shouldn't get to the situation where we have to destroy this.
Right.
That's why I always advocate that if we can't have this, then maybe this is another option for the economy.
Absolutely. All right, let me come to Dr. Amir. You want to add to what he...
Yes. Ayana knows where he and I, we part company.
Right.
He knows that when we are in the boat, sometimes at a certain stage, we part company.
Right.
I have been an advocate of self-regulation.
Right.
And when industry does self-regulation, it does it in accordance with how it understands the business.
Right.
It's always better that you have self-regulation than to have regulation that comes from outside to come and bear on the industry.
Right.
In the shipping area, I'll talk about two broad categories: technical regulation, commercial regulation.
Right.
Everybody is incensed with technical regulation because technical regulation is about safety. It's about the environment. So these are critical to the running of the ship. When it comes to commerce, it's a little different in that regard. And consequently, one would expect that there should be a lot of self-regulation. Unfortunately, we haven't had it like that. So there have been a few things that have come up that especially the shipping lines are not responding to. And when they don't respond to it, obviously, one would think about a regulatory framework. Look, when people talk about the fact that holidays and weekends, they should not be charged because there is no opportunity for them at that time. The shipping line is not working, and so they should not be paid. I think that the shipping lines themselves, should do. But if they don't, then obviously there will be the need for a regulatory framework to ensure that a level playing field is achieved.
Yes.
In all of the industry, we have standards. So some of these standards we must comply with these standards. So much as I agree with Ayana that yes, there must be an objective of regulation. I've said that when it comes to the technical side, there is not much issue. But when it comes to the commercial, you want the players as much as possible to self-regulate. But they will self-regulate where, for example, there are no cartels or monopolies.
Right.
Today, among the shipping lines, if one gets to know that these people are charging $120 per day for demurrage, and the other line then begins to charge the same, and people have no alternative.
Right.
So it is not a perfect market out there such that you would say, oh, if this line charges, then I won't go with this line. I will go with that line.
Right.
It is not a perfect market out there. So it is important that we understand the regulation from the framework within which it is coming.
Right.
I agree very much that there must be an objective to regulation. But I think that largely we must leave very little to external regulation and do more of self-regulation.
Right.
When industry does self-regulation, as I said, it's always better.
Right.
Just to clarify a little.
Right.
You know, these are some of the challenges. And sometimes, and Kofi knows, education is very important.
Absolutely.
No shipping line globally owns all their containers. At best, a shipping line will be owning about 20% of their.
Okay.
Where do they get the other 80% from? They also go to hide the
Lease
them
arrangement
on a very long-term
basis.
And these leases also have clauses, right? So at the end of the day, when I'm going to lease a container, nobody is telling me that weekends and holidays, it's not part of your lease, lease agreement, right? Now, when a shipper comes to me and he's coming to take my container, we have a certain understanding, appreciation that, listen, this includes weekends and holidays. In the first place, I'm giving you a certain number of free days to take delivery of your cargo.
Right.
Thereafter, this is what is going to happen. And the charges includes weekends and holidays because it's like our people in the market, right? When they go and rent a stall or a shop or whatever it is, Sundays they don't normally go to the shop. Do they say because they don't go to the shop, I mean, they wouldn't pay the shop owner?
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate where he's coming from, that self-regulatory, etc. But then that means that a lot of things would have to change if people are doing the right things. Look, containers get missing.
Yeah.
Right? Shipping lines lose a lot of containers. Aside these costs that also comes up.
Yeah.
You know, damage of containers. So they also have to maintain these containers. And these are all costs. You know, so if you push a legislation like, okay, in Ghana, look all over, globally. I want to see a global or a country that says that maybe weekends and holidays, they don't charge. And even if there is a country as such, maybe one or two, right? You would then have to look at the environment in which the operation takes place.
Right.
Which means that there's been certain issues that has been taken care of. So there are no containers sitting down for 20 days, 100 days, 1 year, 5 years, etc. Because demurrage is not necessarily an income for the shipping line. It's an opportunity cost. You know, I keep saying these things. Shipping lines make more money when their containers are on the sea.
Right.
But people don't understand it. I don't know how else I would have to explain this. And when it comes to charges, look, all these players are global players. And Kofi and I know that there are these EU anti-competition regulations. Yeah? Yes, and he knows certain shipping lines that have been fined. You know, raid on shipping lines that have been fined if you are colluding on charges. Our association, PERSEC, when we meet and we talk on principles of shipping.
Swag.
Yes, swag, yes. We talk on principles, right? When anyone brings a commercial issue which is linked to cost, etc., everybody will get up and leave. Or people will say, you know, put it on record that I left, right? But business is business. If, for instance, there is a situation created, and it's a market dynamic, there is a situation created, and a colleague of mine, shipping line, is trying to recoup their cost in a way, and the market has bought into it. Obviously, another one would say, okay, then I also have to find a way of recouping my cost. But then none of the shipping lines charges are the same. None of them. And this one you can take, none of them have the same charges.
Right.
You know, so sometimes we have to look at this. What are we doing? Are we now going to vary the contract of carriage? You know, let's do certain things ourselves. And I'm sure when we are able, Kofi highlighted a lot of challenges in the port. When we are able to do all these things, players would also come on board. And why not? Don't forget that these people who are shipping on the vessels, they are first customers to the shipping line. The shipping line wants them. You know, they educate them. So the shipping line, some way, somehow, also takes on, it's their primary duty anyway, to educate the shippers.
Yes.
But Ghana Shippers Authority also does their best. But it's the primary, because the shipping line wants his box back. So he would educate the shipper that, listen, this is what the issue is. You know, I want my box back. So you have to do this and that. That's why they would take all regulations in the countries and share it on their platforms. That is why they would deploy technology so that people can track their cargo. You know when the cargo is coming. You know when you have to plan. Why would somebody come to the port to know duties before they will go? Didn't they know when they were importing the cargo? It just doesn't make sense that somebody will import something and he doesn't know the cost before the thing comes to the port. I mean, then there is something wrong, and we have to find out what is wrong. And if we fix these things, I don't think what they call demurrage would even become a topical issue. I mean, other places, they have different free days, right? Mm-hmm. You go to UK, some of the ports in UK, Kofi, demurrage is about £70 a day, right? Some of the ports, they have only 3 days.
Right.
A majority of the ports globally, it's 7 days. I mean,
right.
That's, I have to admit, it's 7 days, majority of the ports. And what do? I'm a Ghanaian first before anything, right? Yes. But I have to also be objective. I don't see color. People always think I see color, but I don't see color. At the end of the day, I'm a business person. My demurrage cost is calculated by my principal. I'm an agent over here, holding forth for my principal. So all these other costs or my charges are related to the cost in the country that I operate, because some of the costs I cannot even predict them before I come, but they come up. So if, for instance, I'm charging a certain amount for holding onto my container for a certain period, and you are saying that, okay, now I'm going to cut off certain days, holidays and weekends or whatever, because I don't have access to your my container, you can't charge. Meanwhile, we agreed when you came for the container that this was this was the agreement for taking my box. All right, then I have to recalculate my demurrage charges to compensate for that. So we'll be penny wise, pound foolish. We have to look at these things well. And I'm sure, I know some of the people, some of the shipping lines that we've spoken about. Some are like, okay, if maybe there's a weekend and it's the last day, can you imagine you leave your box for 30 days, right? And you said all the weekends you didn't have access to the box. Where were you in the first week? So you want to have all the weekends and all the holidays that came. You went to party for 30 days, and then when you come, you want them to take. I mean, come on, guys. You see, I would wish that we can educate the public, because Ghana is a nice place, and at this our ambition of becoming the hub and becoming gateway to West Africa, we can work together. Unfortunately, we don't have vessels, but we can I always say we can cooperate and coordinate. These shipping lines are business people, and shipping is a business of conscience. We can all judge once we all do the right things. If today this one doesn't get up and levy, everybody is levying the shipping line. Everybody is levying the shipping line. Why are they levying them? They would also have to recoup the cost from it. So we have to look at the principle and the principled nature of the business. And I think, like Kofi said, self-regulation is already happening, and it will continue and to even be better. And you would see that the shipping lines themselves would even be deploying. Who asked them to deploy technology in our country, and to whose benefit? To our benefit. Today, there's something that they said shipping lines should be able to send arrival notices or even demurrage charges to. It's a discussion that is going on to the clients, and if the clients don't get the information, that means the charges of the shipping line is quite. I mean, for Christ's sake, are we going back 50 years?
Right.
Why have they deployed technology for you to be able to track your cargo? We have to make the shipper responsible. We have to educate the shipper to know that they have a right and they also have an obligation.
Right.
And the shipping lines they are customers to the shipping line. Why can't they dialogue? If you take a clearing agent who cannot go and dialogue with the shipping line, is it the fault of the shipping line? Well, let's look at these things. And I respectfully, yes, these things can be looked at, but we shouldn't say shipping lines also connive on charges. It's never true.
Right. When we come back, we'll go for a break. When we come back, Doc, I'll come to you and find out from you whether you agree with the school of thought that believes that some people deliberately abandon their cargo or boxes in the port for it to go onto the UCL so they can come and buy it cheaply or at a lower rate. Yes, this is our report here on Metro TV, and tonight we are taking a look at how to ensure some high efficiency in our shipping space. We're taking some perspectives from the private sector, from the Ghana Chamber of Shipping. Representing them is Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia, who is the Chief Executive Officer, and indeed from the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana, we have Dr. Adam Imoro Ayana, who is an executive member of SOA. Yes, so we're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goal stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goal station today and energize your ride with Goal Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goal Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Ja, ya, ya.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena, a cutting-edge WhatsApp bot revolutionizing how motor insurance and other insurance products are purchased, managed and utilized. You're right! You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Oh yes, 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serene Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. Serena is fast and always available no matter the time of day. It is a 24-hour self-service. Get insured in less than 10 minutes on WhatsApp from the comfort of wherever you may be. Convenience without compromise. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool. It's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
We are taking perspectives from the private sector, from the Ship Owners and Agents Association. We have in the studios Dr. Adam Imorayana, who is an executive member, and indeed from the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, we have the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia, who is also a maritime consultant and a private legal practitioner at Alliance Partners here. in Accra. Okay, so let me take the opportunity and announce that the phone lines have been activated. You can dial in, you can call in, and then contribute to the discussion. The number to dial is 0245-834980, 0245-834980. We will be glad to have you and share your perspectives on the show. That's Doc. I said when we come back, I was going to ask you whether you share with the school of thought, you agree with them that some people deliberately abandon their cargo, waiting for it to migrate onto the uncleared cargo list, the UCL, and then they'll come back and purchase at a lower rate.
Yes, thank you very much. Fortunately, I've been in the industry long enough to know exactly what happens. I do recall that one of our great and mentors for a lot of us in the industry, Alhaji Asumabanda, earlier when he said shipping is a mafia business. But I don't think that the mafia he meant was this kind of mafia.
Right.
Not this kind of mafia. But I wish I could say that it is not true.
Right.
But I tell you that it is true.
Right.
It is true that people deliberately leave their cargo. They leave their containers. It will go on UCL. It goes on UCL. They do all the groundwork arrangements when auction is going to take place, and they themselves come and take the cargo under auction.
Yes.
It is happening. It is happening not only because I have been with the Ghana Shippers Authority and I have had complaints. In practice, I have dealt with cases like that.
Wow.
Where there is a connivance. Clearly, you can see there is a connivance, unfortunately, between customs, and sometimes the clearing and forwarding agents. Sometimes it is very clear that everything has been done in such a way that a fellow will come back and come and buy his container.
We'll say customs are not here. They are not here. They can't defend themselves. So we can.
This one, I'm not attacking them.
Yes,
I'm not attacking customs. I'm talking about what happens. I'm not attacking them. I'm saying that within the system, customs works. Within the system, clearing and forwarding agents work. So I'm saying that in their work, because you cannot take a container out of the port without having these people work.
Right.
With respect to that cargo.
Right.
So it is in that respect I'm saying that they work on it. And therefore, when these things happen, obviously, we will have nowhere to go than to say that it is as a result of their work that these things have happened.
Right.
It's of two forms. One is where, as you have indicated, the owner of the cargo himself allows it to go on UCL and comes back and comes to buy.
Yes.
There is another aspect also where the cargo would go on UCL, and immediately the time frame, like vehicles, 60 days, immediately some cargoes have been in the port for 2 years, not auctioned.
Yes.
But this vehicle will be auctioned,
yes,
on the 61st day.
Yeah.
I hope you are getting the point I'm making.
Sure.
And Adam mentioned it. The shipping line, maybe its freight has not been paid.
Yes.
Sometimes it will happen that the duty that is expected to go to government,
yes,
the level of duty is not even up to what you get out of the auction.
Right.
So the duty is far higher than the rate at which the vehicle is auctioned.
Sold,
So definitely there must be some people who are interested
and benefiting
in this
from it.
and benefiting. That is why it happens like that. It's most unfortunate. It's most unfortunate. But truth be told, it is happening in the port. There are times when people have brought in their cargo, and as we indicated, the norm should not be that they bring the cargo and are now going to look for money to come and pay duty. It should not be the norm. However, if that happens, a system should be in place that allows the fellow, I know you can apply to customs, etc., for an extension of time. But there is a limit to which you can go for an extension of time. And when eventually the cargo does not come to you as the owner of the goods, but it's been auctioned, it has to take account of all of the elements of the cost.
Right.
So that at the end of the day, when someone else comes to pick that cargo, he would have met all of the requirements that are required.
Yes.
The duty would have been paid. If there is demurrage to be paid on the container, it will be paid. If there is freight that remains unpaid, if GPHA money has not been paid, terminal fees have not been paid, all of them should be calculated into the auction.
Right.
Other than that, government should find a way by which these things can leave the port, go to a designated area, and then they take time and then they deal with it commercially.
Yes. Right.
They deal with it commercially. This
right,
whole
the state can recoup.
and recoup.
The money,
and recoup. Unfortunately, we haven't done that for a very long time, and this thing continues. It's still continuing in the port.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. So the Africa Continental Free Trade, AfTA, Dr. Ayana, is a vehicle that we are hoping to ride, on whose back we are trying to ride, so we can improve exports in this country and all that. And I know recently the president inaugurated a committee where he himself is sharing in order to boost exports for Mother Ghana. I just want to find out from you how Ghana can leverage AfTA, to boost the shipping sector.
I think Kofi will be the best person to answer this. I would answer it from a very myopic, point of view.
Right.
I think he's been in a lot of discussions on these issues.
Right.
But for me, when I look at the objectives, because I've had a recent scenario where it's still ongoing. It's a very sorry state where a team of, I think, traders were taken for an expo in Tanzania, right? And if you are talking of AfTA, then these people should have gone duty-free, right? It looks like when they also went, they sold some of their items and some are left.
Right.
And up to now, those that are left, they can't bring it because Tanzania is asking them to pay for the taxes. And Ghana has not been able to leverage any protocols to get this waived.
Right.
And unfortunately, this is the challenge. We are talking of private sector. We are talking of locals also being brought up, into there is a clearing agent in the scheme of this who is now bearing the brunt of customs in that country. So that clearing agent has been blocked because these things are hanging in. So I think certain things would have to be done. We can't do everything at the same time. You have to look at the integration and liberalization of the market, especially the customs, the Continental Customs Union, to leverage these things. And this is what I keep saying. Where are we going to go? Are we going to go on the road? Sea and rail would obviously be where to go. So governments in West Africa or Africa should be looking at developing, investing heavily in the rail.
Yes.
We don't have vessels. So what do? We have to cooperate with those who have it and gradually build capacity.
Right.
It's not about, managing a vessel is not an easy thing. Like Kofi said, Alhaji said, it's also a mafia game. Why do you have only 10 of the, there are so many shipping lines in the world. You have 10 controlling 85%.
Globally,
of volumes, globally. So you leverage your advantages. And then you cooperate with these people, and then you have a seamless, and a gradual process of migrating into where you want to go. But first, certain bottlenecks. First, we have to deal with the human even movement first. If we can clear that, then cargo can easily follow. Other than that, we'll be having challenges. We'll just be hitting our heads on the wall. And don't forget, most of the African economies also rely on taxation. So that is one thing that we have to be thinking about. How do we deal with that? And there will definitely be competition.
Absolutely.
More so when you see all the, especially it's not even only on the West Coast. In Africa, everybody is investing in ports.
Yes.
Right? So everybody would like to attract cargo.
Absolutely.
Everybody would like to be a hub. So that competition is also there. And that could also affect the leveraging. So it's I don't have much this thing. I'm sure Kofi knows more, but there is more to it than sometimes we just say it.
Yes.
I'll defer to Kofi.
No, I mean, Ayana has made the point. After a brilliant idea, there is no doubt at all about it. I mean, all the indicators show that economies are driven by trade.
Right.
And consequently, if you were to liberalize, then it works. So you have a trading area where you liberalize. But it's one thing talking about liberalization and the fact that we have been able to move some consignment from here to Cameroon or moved, but that is not how it works, because trade flows and the flows must be continuous. So look, we have had the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme.
Yes.
We've had
ETLS.
ETLS. We've had the protocol on the free movement of goods and persons. You get me? So look, when we talk about halftime, we're talking about the whole of Africa now. You need to look at the regional blocks.
Yes.
To what extent are the regional blocks themselves connected, integrated, such that we are still doing around 8 to 9% in terms of intra-African trade? Why should it be so?
Yeah.
Ayana pointed out, he mentioned it. I was with the African Union. African Union was looking at Africa and the deficit in infrastructure. And it will hit you in the face because quite clearly there is a huge deficit in infrastructure.
Yes.
So there is no way. Two things, if you don't have them: connectivity, infrastructure.
Yeah.
If you don't have them, you cannot have a free trade area that works. I agree. I hear people say start from somewhere. Yes, true, start from somewhere. But we are not connected.
Right.
We are not connected in the first place. And that is why I said if we start off from the regional blocks first, to what extent is ECOWAS working?
Right.
And then to what extent would you go to East Africa and then SADC and then so then you can bring them to integrate.
Right.
Because even here in West Africa, we are still not integrated.
Right.
The infrastructure is poor. The connectivity is poor. Today everybody is using the information superhighway. People are on the internet. We are doing everything. To what extent are we connected? Last time someone wanted to export something from here to Cameroon. Sometimes I get people, even in Nigeria, call, can you get a vessel for me to take a cargo to Cameroon? You can't get a vessel there. Aluminium coils. It has to go to Europe and then come back, to Europe and come back because the shipping lines are not there and they are there to do, those who are there to do business.
Yeah.
And to the extent that they look at their voyage results and it makes sense for them to go up and come down, then they'll do it. Therefore, the freight that you are going to pay for moving cargo, aluminium coils, steel coils, from here to Cameroon, you'll be amazed. So it's a challenge that if we want AFTA to work, one of the key ingredients is we must work on the connectivity.
Right.
Must make sure that our internet is working properly. We must make sure that the infrastructure is right.
Right.
I mean, apart from the rail network he spoke about, the road network, even by air, the linkages, when for one reason or the other, you have to fly quickly and make a deal and come back for whatever reason, you are going to Cape Verde. And it will be better for you to go to Portugal and come to Cape Verde than to live here because you will spend 3 days from here to get to Cape Verde.
Wow.
No. Because you fly to Cote d'Ivoire or maybe Askai to Togo. Then you go to Dakar, Senegal. Before then you go to... So we need to get the connectivity right.
Absolutely.
And we need to get the infrastructure right.
We have barely 5 minutes to wrap up, but barely 4 minutes. This one
if we are wrapping up, let me just add this. You mentioned something about taxes.
Okay.
And I have been an advocate of this. Look, because we've been to many parts of the world, and best examples. If you take Singapore, you take other places, over time, if we continue to collect so much tax from the ports, the neck of the bottle is what we continue to strangulate.
Right.
So we should have a time frame within which we de-emphasize over a period of time. Let us say 15 years, 20 years, begin to reduce and try and strengthen the internal tax collection mechanisms. Such that you collect your tax from within the country and allow trade facilitation. Let trade be a driver, But if the duties are like the way they are, and every time we collect about 40 to 50% of our duties from the port, then every time all of the challenges we have spoken about will continue to be there.
Absolutely.
Let us de-emphasize. Once we de-emphasize, you will find out that the rest of the regulatory will be food and drugs, will be standards authority, etc.
Right.
So those are the key things.
Yes. Right. Let me take your final words, Doc. There are some messages here I would want to, but because of time constraints, I'll take your last word, and then when we come, I'll take them, and then if we have some 30 seconds to provide some responses.
I just want us to focus on the right things, and then we can get the right solutions.
Right.
It should be solution-based instead of finger-pointing and
Solution-oriented,
dialogue, in an atmosphere of cooperation,
right?
In a constructive manner,
right?
And I think that is what will move Ghana forward. Otherwise, I promise you, 20 years from now, when my hair will be more white or so, when hopefully Kofi will be holding a walking stick and we'll come here and talk about the same
things,
because that's what we've been talking
Absolutely.
about. Mindset change is very important.
Very key.
And
That's
people
awesome.
should not look at we versus them, but
Right.
it should be collaboration and coordination.
Right. This one is from Emmanuel Nagugwa. He says the president also commissioned a committee to see to the realization of a national airline. Do you think it is time for the country to start thinking of the Black Star Line once again?
Yes, as far as names are concerned, I don't mind about the name, but the structure.
Right.
What form should it take?
Right.
These days we've been talking a lot about public-private participation. So if the structure is along those lines, then it is fine. But a completely state-owned, Black Star Line, as it used to be, would not be competitive. I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one is from Isaac.
Sorry, with after also, then we should be looking at the connectivity within Africa, not just, that if Ghana would take the lead.
Absolutely.
When in partnership with whatever.
Right.
Ethiopia and Emirates, whatever.
Right. This one is from Isaac in Ashaiman. He says, what reforms are SWAG and the Chamber of Shipping proposing to ensure better collaboration with state actors like Customs and GPHA? Okay, we'll take the responses and then we can put that in the abridged version. So, Isaac, you do have your response there. Make sure to watch the abridged version on Wednesday at 8:30 Ghana Television. This Patrick Inla says, is there any hope that Ghana can actually become a maritime hub in West Africa? What would it take to get there? Okay, we'll get you that response on the abridged version. And Sarah in Accra also says, there are so many abandoned containers at the port. What's being done to educate importers and reduce these cases? Okay, so you heard some of the solutions that Dr. Mbia and Dr. Ayana proffered. We would like to draw the curtain here on this week's edition of Iron Port here on Metro TV. Remember, we've been taking a look at how to inject some higher efficiency in our shipping space. We took perspectives from the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, represented by Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia, the Chief Executive Officer, who is also a maritime consultant and indeed a private legal practitioner at Alliance Partners here in Accra, Ghana, and indeed Dr. Adam Mimori Ayana, who is an executive member of the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana, SWAG. We thank you so much. We'd like to say a big thanks also to our sponsors, Ghana Regional Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. Remember, the show is powered by GPHA, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We entreat you to keep watching the rest of our programs here and make sure to watch the abridged version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television GTV. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Port program. And we'd like to say Happy International Women's Day, Women in Maritime Day, to all women in the industry. We thank you for choosing us. We keep watching the rest of our programs here, and God willing, we'll see you next week. Have a super week ahead. My name is Kennedy Mona. Good evening.